And I go, so why do we have a problem? And I go, well, quantum physics says our consciousness is creating this world. And I say, yeah, that's absolutely true. And then I look around and go, but I wouldn't have created this mess. And I go, then how come we're here? And so I'm going to back up 1 second and say the mind is actually what's controlling our biology. Okay, it's an energy field. It's been left out of medicine for 100 years or more because medicine said the body is made out of matter and it's only affected by matter. Hence, we take drugs, pharmaceuticals. But it turns out that illusion of matter is wrong, that consciousness is actually the energy field that shapes our physical experience. So I say, if you change consciousness, then you change your life experience. I go, yeah. Then all of a sudden I say, what shapes consciousness? I go, then we step back, and here's the point. The brain is a computer. Absolutely, everyone understands. It's the most advanced computer that even humans can't make anything that comes near the power of the human mind in creating, okay? So I said, but it is a computer. And I say, so why is it relevant? Well, the characters of the brain computer versus the character of the silicon-based computers that we use at home, Apple or whatever, those things. I say, they're both computers, and there's a characteristic to those computers. And I go, what? Give you an example. We go to the store right now and I buy a brand new laptop. I bring it home. I plug it in, push start. It boots up. All right, the computer's booted up. And now I say, do something. Make a drawing, do a spreadsheet, write an essay. And you go, I can't use the computer. I mean, you just bought it. It's brand new. I go, not until I put programs into the computer can I use that computer. So you buy the computer, number one. Number two, you download programs, whether it's like Microsoft Word or any of the web browsers or anything. Now you can use the computer. First, you put the programs in. Once the programs are in, then the keyboard that you type on gives you an opportunity to engage that computer and engage with those programs. Okay, so I say, so there's 3 levels here. A, boot up the system. B, put the programs in. C, then access the use of those programs. I say, there's a time schedule. I say, what? In a baby's development, the brain boots up as a computer in the last trimester, the last 3 months of development. And I go, oh, so it boots up. And then I say, then what? I say, oh, phase 2, you have to download programs. I go, oh, how does that happen? I say, the brain of an infant is not operating at the level of consciousness like we're talking about here. The brain of an infant is at a lower vibration called theta. And theta is characterized as imagination. So I say a child between like 0 and 7 can engage in imagination, mixing it with the real world because theta is imagination. I go, yeah, riding a broom and saying it's a horse. Well, the kid on the broom does not see it as a broom. Theta, imagination, has turned that broom actually into a horse. So the kid is riding a broom, but in their mind, it's a horse. Or, the famous tea party where you pour nothing into the cup and you drink nothing and you exclaim how wonderful the tea is. That's theta. But theta is hypnosis. And for the first 7 years, your brain is predominantly in theta and it's in hypnosis. I say, what does that mean? I say, it observes the world and downloads the behavior of other people. You watch your mother, you watch your father, you watch your siblings, you watch your community. And in a state of theta, you're not just watching them. It's like a video camera. You're recording their behavior and downloading it. So that's how you got some programs. I say, where'd you get the programs? Not from you. In a state of theta, you downloaded the programs by observing other people. So the fundamental programs in your brain computer didn't come from you, came from other people. And if they had a defect of any kind in their world and you copied them, then you downloaded that defect as well. And all of a sudden you start to see that what we download, these programs, are mainly the limitations that we have in our life. People say, oh, cancer is caused by a gene. It's called oncogene. I go, there is no gene that causes cancer. Not one gene causes cancer. It can be correlated with cancer, but it's not the cause. And I go, very important. Angelina Jolie, a beautiful young woman, has a double mastectomy and a perfectly healthy body to do what? Avoid the possibility of getting breast cancer that killed her mother and killed her grandmother, with the idea that the gene causes breast cancer. And I go, guess what? 50% of the women carrying that gene never get breast cancer. Well, wait. Possession of the gene doesn't mean you get cancer. No, half the women possess the gene and never get the cancer. So all of a sudden I said, well, then the gene didn't cause cancer, because if it did, then everybody's got the gene will get the cancer. I got, no, 50% don't. And all of a sudden we say, oh, cancer is not elicited by a gene. It's elicited by programming that we got in that first 7 years that is out of harmony with the world, and then manifests out of harmony in the body and expresses cancer, cardiovascular disease, Alzheimer's. These are all dysfunctions inside the community of cells. And I go, so why is it relevant? Because we have been blaming genes for the problems. Oh, I got a heart attack gene from my father. He had cardiovascular disease, and so do I. My mother died when she was 55, and her mother died when she was 58, and I'm 59. I think I'm about ready to die because that's running the genes of death running the family. It's not genes. It's not genes. Genes are blueprints to do what? Make parts. What are the parts? Proteins. The physical body that you have is a protein mechanism. And the idea is the proteins that give us our shape. But proteins actually can change shape by responding to energy fields. I go, so why is that relevant? Where do you think life comes from? The movement of these proteins. So life didn't come from the genes. It came from the proteins that the genes were blueprints for. Okay? And I go, so why is it relevant? You blame the genes for the problem. I go, that's blaming the blueprint. I go, so how much control does the blueprint have? I say, go into an architect's office and she's working on a blueprint, and just ask her a question. Go, is your blueprint on or off? And she would look at you and go, hey, it's a blueprint. There's no on and off. I go, a gene is a blueprint. It does not have an on and off. And you have been led to believe that genes turn on and off and control you. You didn't pick these genes. You got them from your parents. If you don't like the traits, unfortunately, you can't change the genes. Then, of course, you leave off with the fact, oh, the genes turn on and off by themselves. I have nothing to do with it. And then you go, oh, I'm a victim of my heredity. My genes control my life. I'm just carrying around all these genes, and they're going to control my life. And one day I'm going to cross the street and a gene's going to say, hey, cancer, let's have cancer. And all of a sudden you got cancer. You say the genes did. And I go, genes are blueprints. Genes do not turn on and off. That's false. Genes can be read or not read, just like the architect can read the blueprint or not read the blueprint. Gene didn't say, hey, architect, read me. No. So what's the point? Genes are blueprints. They're controlled by you.